Did Jasmine Crockett ask somebody to slap her? Okay. All right. Power panel now. Fred Hicks, Hicks Evaluation Group founder and president, and Jeremy Hunt, Veterans on Duty chairman and former Army intelligence captain. You know, Fred, I almost don't want to press this point with you because you are just so open-minded. But what is going on in your party? And do you think you can fix it quickly?
So, Harris, I'd just like to remind all of the viewers that this is something that happens normally after a party loses an election. Remember, 4 years ago,
No.
Oh, it is.
Did
4
you
years
hear
ago,
the cussing?
Republicans couldn't get. Well, listen, 4 years ago, Republicans couldn't decide if the election was free and fair, if they were stolen. Donald Trump said they weren't. And you had governors across the state.
How is that
across the
anything
country
like your
saying
party dismantling itself and cussing at the American public?
Well,
they're
they're
two
not
different
cussing at the
things.
American public. They're expressing frustration at what's happening. And I think some
Please
of the things
don't
that Donald
excuse
Trump
that
has said
bad
over the
behavior.
years has been far worse than what they've said. But that being said, like I said, with respect to the messaging, 4 years ago, Republicans were in disarray. People were saying that Donald Trump was going to cause them to lose every election for this foreseeable future. After the midterms, where Donald Trump endorsed candidates lost left and right, the Republican Party found its footing. Donald Trump emerged as the nominee, and he won. And so this is not an unusual path for parties to take after losing an election.
You know what I love about what he just did, Jeremy? He gave us a winning message for how Republicans do it, and he's hoping, I guess, that his party can follow the Republicans and win again.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't envy Fred right now. It's a tough job to try to come up with a winning message for Democrats. I mean, look, they don't have a message. They also don't really have the tools to really communicate with the base, with the normal, everyday American people. They're having a hard time. But more than that, if you look at some of these 2028 presidential hopefuls, they really have an authenticity problem, I'm seeing. I mean, if you look at Gavin Newsom, someone who has been just a very far left, very much an activist type governor, really leading his state in the wrong direction for the last several years. And now he's one of the top contenders for the Democrats in 2028. And now all of a sudden he's kind of flip-flopping and he's having this podcast, bringing on Republican guests and trying to reach across the aisle. And suddenly, this far-left governor is someone who reaches across the aisle. I mean, look, the American people can see right through that, right? When we look at presidential candidates, we want someone who's authentic. That's why Donald Trump did so well and won resoundingly, is because he's authentic. That's what people like. And you look at the Democrats.
All right, well, we put some of those candidates up on the wall for everybody to see while you were talking. A caller on the Breakfast Club radio show criticized Democrats while praising President Trump for keeping campaign promises.
Man, I'll never vote for another Democrat again.
Why? What's up?
How do Trump sign 100 executive orders and you get 1 million promises from a Democrat, but they don't never come through with one promise they give you?
You know, brother, you're not wrong. You got one party that's about action and you got one party that's about inaction. And, I was literally having that conversation with a good friend of mine this week. That is why people have soured on Democrats. Regardless of what Republicans are doing, you see Republicans doing something. I can't see Democrats getting back in office no time soon unless something changes drastically.
A recent poll found 70% of voters feel President Trump kept his campaign promises. And there's more to come. A list of accomplishments so far, though, include inflation trending downward, low gas prices, egg prices falling, border encounters plummeting, and a possible peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. And now, just today, and we pray that this American makes it home safely from the clutches of those Hamas savages, the release potentially from Hamas in a ceasefire situation of the last American known alive and 4 dual citizens' bodies coming home. I mean, just amazing, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, what we're seeing is when President Trump, before he even got in office, he said, look, the hostages must come home. And what we've seen is that he's been full support behind Israel. That's what's been missing. We've been missing the decisiveness to say, look, we are going to defeat our enemies. We are not going to be, kowtowing to Hamas or Iran. And we're seeing real leadership. And that's the real difference with President Trump.
So, Fred, the lesson in all of this might be just find your way and stick to it, and don't take a poll and figure out which way the wind is blowing to make your way forward.
Well, I think that's a lesson for all parties, including President Trump. I mean, we talk about his tariffs and, we're going to double tariffs on Canada. Oh, wait, the stock market is falling and people are unhappy. I'm going to pull those back. So, I mean, people do appreciate authenticity from both sides.
Last word, Jeremy?
I think what Americans are seeing are results. It's something that we haven't seen the last 4 years, and it's very refreshing.
All right, two takes on one thing, and the American people, a majority, like what the president is doing. Let him cook.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.